Good day and welcome to Now Streaming on ACNNTV, your trusted space where we spotlight the moments, people, and conversations that shape our society, challenge our thinking, and inspire our action. I'm Chidima Ndukuva, your anchor. And with me in the studio is my co-anchor.
Gift Unaji. It's always a pleasure doing this with you,
You're
Chidima.
welcome. I'm so happy to be here with you today again.
Same here.
So today's episode is one that touches the very heartbeat of our nation. And it's the Children's Day 2025 in Nigeria. But we are going beyond the fanfare, beyond the parades and the bright hats. Today we ask a deeper question. Are we truly recognizing the treasure in our children? Or are we walking past gold mines every day, unaware, unprepared, and unconcerned? Okay, viewers, to discuss this and other interesting questions on the show is Miss Asha Onyebuchi Chika, a multiple award winner, a leader par excellence, and a multi-talented lady. Also joining us here is Master David Obinzwe, a multiple award winner, a leader par excellence, and a multiple talented gentleman. In the course of the show, you will get to know more about them. Also joining us virtually from Abuja is architect Crispus Ndukuva. He's a Sunday school children's teacher and children's story animator. You're welcome, our guest. You're welcome. Viewers, before we go into this discussion properly, we'll be going through the front pages of some newspapers that arrived early this morning. We'll be looking at the Vanguard newspaper for a start. So the Vanguard newspaper, above the Mark's head, we have the judiciary and the rule of law. I think it's a must. Everybody needs to go and read this. You can find this on page 15 of the Vanguard newspaper. Edo, Delta, kidnappers turn residents into cash cows. Oh my God, that's bad. We can find this on page 12 of the Vanguard newspaper. Kidnappers hit Kubwa Estate, hold residents hostage, abduct to not again.
Honestly, it's
Not
quite
again.
sad.
This is bad. Kubwa here, and it's terrible. Okay, we can read about this in page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Of course, it's very important to go through this to know what's happening in your country. Below, we'll be looking at the head story, the lead story for the Vanguard newspaper. We have sealing of secretariat, PDP fumes as Tinubu intervenes. Then the picture story, by the left-hand side of the picture story, we have DPO feared dead as youth set Kano police station ablaze. Okay, they say they should act. Continue reading this in page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper. 42 killed in fresh Haider's attack on Benue communities. This killing is too much. Okay, we can read this on page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. And below the picture story, we have Saudi Arabia deports Sheikh Gumi, bad from hard. Continue reading this from page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper. I think that will be all for the Vanguard newspaper. Now let's hear from you, Gifts.
Okay, the Punch newspaper is leading with the story Tension in PDP. Governor BOT reconvene as NEC meeting stalls. The kicker says Damagun uncertain about NEC meeting. Atiku orders Sean National Caucus meeting. This story can be found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. Beside the masthead, we have insurgency, Tinubu, Zulum in talk over forest guards deployment, with kicker saying suspected leaders kill cop 41 Benue villagers. This is quite sad. It can be found on page 2 and 29 of the Punch newspaper. And we have the picture stories saying ground rent, FCTA shorts PDP, FIRS, NAPTIP headquarters. This can be found on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. And we also have $750 million loan. World Bank pressures Nigeria for fresh tax hike. This can be found on page 23. It's quite an interesting story. I think you should go ahead and get yours to have a view of what's exactly happening. And beside that, we have Oyo pays Oshun 5 billion naira in Lautech ownership deal. This is from Makinde. It's coming. You can get the full story on page 28 of the Punch newspaper. And we also have Tinubu to inaugurate Lagos Calabar Highway Section 1 on Saturday. This can be found on page 29 of the Punch newspaper. That will be all. Please go ahead to get the newspaper and read and be informed on the happenings in Nigeria and the world. Over to
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gift. Please go get the newspaper, read it, and be informed about what's happening in your country. It's very important. Now, we have special guests with us today. Amazing, amazing people. With me here is Asha. Asha, can you introduce yourself? Tell us a little.
My name is Asha Onyebuchishika. I'm 12 years old. I'm in just 3. I'm almost done with just 3. I like to draw, play basketball, play football. I also play instruments like piano, violin. I also like to read. I like to read a lot. And I also do like coding and this IT.
Wow.
You do a couple,
you're
you do a lot of
multi-talented.
things. That's interesting. When did you start? Okay, with the keyboard, when did you start playing the keyboard?
I started playing the keyboard around, let's say, 2 years ago, I think.
What of the violin?
I started violin from primary school, like when I was in primary 1.
Okay, that's beautiful. And you enjoy playing football. You're not the regular kind of lady or girl child. That's interesting. You're
I'm
welcome.
even wondering how she's able to balance being good in the science aspect and also the creative aspect. It's a wonder.
I think they work together. Creativity. Playing the keyboard, playing musical instruments, you need to be very creative, and
Honestly.
it helps in IT. You're welcome. David.
Thank you.
Yeah, can you introduce yourself?
My name is David Obiezwe. I'm from Anambra State. I'm in year 5 from Vantage International School, Kudu. I'm going to year 6 this year. I play the violin, the piano, and the recorder.
Oh my, that's beautiful.
I also read most books. Yeah, I read 12 a month.
Wow.
You read 12 books
A month.
Oh,
Parents this time around they are doing
they are
well.
very intentional. That's
Honestly.
good. It's challenging to me,
Yeah.
actually. Yes, that's good. I love that. Okay, we'll be looking at some trending stories before we go to the next segment of the discussion. We'll be looking at sealing of secretariat, PDP fumes as Tinubu intervenes. So, my co-uncle, what do you think about this? Oh,
Okay, I would like to redirect that question to our online guest, Mr. Crispus. Mr. Crispus, sir. You're welcome, sir. You heard the question from Chidima over here with the trending stories, tension in PDP, governors, BOT reconvenes as NEC meetings stall.
stalls.
What do you have to say about that, sir?
Sometimes some of these moves are power tussle moves. And because PDP was once in power, they once held that power and decided what goes on. But now the power has changed to APC, and a lot of people are decamping and changing to APC. There are still all these are political moves within them, the government. So I think it's just their normal games they are playing. Eventually they will sort themselves out and the whole story, the whole news will die down. So I think it's just a power tussle that usually happens between the two parties.
That's,
So that's what I have to say.
that's quite interesting. Politics in Nigeria.
It's actually a power tussle. And this one, the first one that is about sealing of secretariats, the PDP films as Tinubu intervenes, it got me laughing. We know the story, of course. They confiscated every land that have been sitting fallow for 28 years, for over 28 years, 28 years and above. And then because PDP's land is part of, their property is part of it, they had to intervene. So now Tinubu have asked for a grace of 14 days, to give them 14 days to do something. It's either they pay up or... So what do you think about this, the sudden intervention? We have a lot of things that
Like
needs
Mr. Crispus
intervention.
made mention of, all these things, they are just politics, buying each other time. Because on a normal, would the president have intervened if such the PDP were not involved in all this? Let's think about it. So I just think it's a game of politics. It's a game of you rub my palm, I rub your palm. So let's just keep watching them and hope it doesn't jeopardize the organization in Nigeria.
We hope so too. Our amazing guest, I would like to just ask, would you like to join politics with all of these things happening in Nigeria? Would you like to join politics, to be a politician, maybe a president or a governor? Asha? Oh, really?
Really? Why?
All the politics and everything is just a lot. People always competing and taking bribery and all that. It's just not something a Christian should actually get into like that. I mean, there are some that can actually change it, but I personally would not want to.
Okay, but what if you, as a different person, now you know what should be? What if you choose, okay,
To be different.
to go there and choose to be the real change?
If I go and choose to be different,
Yeah.
there is a higher number of people that will not choose to be different and choose to follow the old ways that will always get them whatever they want. So the more mass of the people will be more than I who wants to make a change. So it will be difficult.
I get your point actually. You know, the state of this country, we don't know how bad it is. We don't know that it's affecting our children.
Honestly,
And they are the future, they are our tomorrow.
Instead of the younger ones to look, okay, I
I'm
aspire
encouraged.
to be this someday, to be the president, to impute so and so improvements into the system. We are having them at this stage say, okay, I don't want to be involved in this because it's
a
all
painful
messy.
one. David, you like to be the president, right? Tomorrow, someday, maybe the president or the governor of Anambra State, or would you like to join politics tomorrow when you are grown?
No.
Oh,
Can
Why?
you share with us why?
Reason is because murdering is going out there. The murdering Boko Haram is terrorizing. So
wouldn't you want to be the change? Want to change things in Nigeria, stop all these killings and everything?
yes, in a smaller way.
Oh, in a smaller way. Wow.
At least
How?
you start from there.
How?
Like, let's say I'm the co-president, like the assistant.
Vice
Oh,
president.
I know you have aspirations. What do you want to be when you grow up? Where do you see yourself in the next 15, 20 years? What do you want to be?
I see myself as a doctor.
Oh, okay. Oh, Asha, you call. What do you want to be?
An architect.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
that's nice.
That's
That's
interesting.
cool. No, but I actually get from David's aspect. He said in a smaller way. But David, being a doctor is not a smaller way. It's a huge thing. You are saving lives. You are putting yourself out there to ensure people are not sick, they get better. So it's a big way too. And also Asha, architect. That's
That's
beautiful.
beautiful. So we have aspiring architects, and our guest is already an architect. That's interesting. So viewers, thank you for joining us. We'll be going on a very short break. Stay with us. We'll be back soon.
The Vicar, PCC, and entire members of St. Philip's Anglican Church, Team 6, Gwarimpa, Abuja, joyfully welcome our beloved Father in God and Bishop, His Grace, the Most Reverend Dr. Henry Ndukuba, the Archbishop, Metropolitan and Primate of all Nigeria, and our endeared mommy, Mrs. Angela Ndukuba, Mama Nigeria, the diocesan officials and clergy, synod delegates and guests, friends and well-wishers to the third session of the 12th Synod of the Diocese of Abuja, holding at St. Philip's Anglican Church, Gwarimpa, Abuja, from May 29 to June 1, 2025. Synod theme: Serve the Lord. Imperative for the family under God. Joshua 24:14-15. Opening service Thursday, May 29, 5 p.m. Ceremonial opening and presidential address Saturday, May 31 at 10 a.m. Thanksgiving service Sunday, June 1, 10 a.m. We gladly appreciate the rare privilege granted to us to host this sacred gathering in just the 8th year of our parish existence. May the Holy Spirit guide every session of the Synod and continue to be with and to bless our Bishop and Diocese, the Venerable Dr. Prince Will O. Irioba, Vicar, Announcer.
Welcome back, viewers. And if you're just joining us, this is still the Now Streaming Show. We are now on to the discussion segment. Nigeria boasts on the largest youth population in the world. Millions of brilliant, curious, imaginative children whose potential stretches far beyond the horizon. Each child represents a possibility, a promise, a divine assignment wrapped in a young soul. Yet, amid political instability, economic hardship, social disconnection, and educational challenges, these treasures often go untapped, buried beneath systems that fail to nurture, protect, or empower them. So today, we are not just making a calendar event, we are issuing a national reminder from homes to schools, churches to government chambers, classrooms to playgrounds, pews to parliaments. This is the moment to ask, what are we doing with the greatest natural resources God has given us? What it means to tap into the greatness within our children and why the future of our nation depends on it. Stay with us, because on this special edition of Now Streaming, we'll be unpacking the truth behind the theme for this year's Children's Day, as adopted by Nigeria, which says tapping the untapped natural treasure, and why the future of Nigeria will depend on how we treat our children today. I'm still Chidima Ndukuba, your anchor, and still with me in the studio are my co-anchor, Gift Naji, and Miss Asha Onyebuchi Chika, a multi-award winner, a leader par excellence, and a multi-talented lady. And Master David Obiezwe, a multiple award winner, a leader par excellence, and a multi-talented gentleman. And also with us virtually from Abuja is architect Crispus Ndukuba. He's a Sunday school children's teacher and a children's story animator. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, guests. You're welcome. Yeah. Viewers, let's get into the discussion. How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel? How do you feel?
I feel very happy.
Okay, today's Children's Day. How do you feel, Asha?
I feel excited and inspired that the whole world is celebrating Children's Day.
How do you feel to be a child?
Feels good to be a child and of today that everybody is celebrating children.
Okay.
Do you
David?
ever think I want to grow up so that they'll stop giving me instructions?
The instructions never stop if you really think about it,
Very
because I
true.
mean you still get a job, you still have a boss, so
That will instruct you.
whether
And
that
that's
Yeah,
an
that's another
intelligent one.
angle.
How do you feel, David? How do you feel?
I feel happy.
Oh, well, that's beautiful. Okay, I would like to ask our guests then. We'll take over our gifts.
Okay.
How do you feel being a children's teacher? Is it challenging? Do you consider it an honor? What's it like for you?
Okay, I would usually say that the Sunday school is the best department in church. And the reason why I say so is because every other aspect of the church gets its roots from the Sunday school. Those who become children and youth, those that go to youth ministry, those that become adults in the main church, they all started from Sunday school. So I feel like you have the opportunity of reaching children when they are still reachable. There's a saying that we have here in Nigeria. They say, "Now condition they make the fish bend." So crayfish in the water is usually very flexible and easy malleable. But by the time you take it out of water, it dries up and bends. Now, as children, you have the opportunity to minister to them when they can still set, when their heart is still flexible, they've not made up their core mind on what they want to do with their lives and all that. But when someone is advanced into their late 30s, their late 40s, you can't start dictating what they will do with their life. They've made up their mind on how they want to live. So I think it's a very crucial ministry in the Church of God worldwide. Every denomination, every nation, every country should be investing in their children because they are the future of the church, they are the future of the world. So I think I feel honored to be given this privilege to serve with children. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Crispus. I love the angle that you started with. It's the greatest department because that is the future. And so I would like to ask you concerning this year's theme, tapping the untapped natural treasure. What can you say about Children's Day and how can we tap this untapped treasure?
Okay, thank you very much. First thing you know about treasures is that treasures are not found on the surface. No natural resource is found on the surface. Maybe sand when you want to make glass or silicon. But aside that, I don't think any other precious material is found on the surface. You don't find gold just lying on the surface of the river. You don't find crude oil just flowing like a river. You have to mine miles down the ground in order to get these things. It takes effort, it takes intentionality, it takes persistence to find treasure. If you watch some children cartoons like SpongeBob, you see that there's always a treasure that Mr. Krusty is always looking for. He always has one treasure, one secret recipe. So the point I'm trying to make is that treasures are not easy to find. Can be lying right in front of you. By living in the house and not know that underneath that 10 meters under that ground, you have diamonds, you have gold. But just because you are living there, you casualize seeing it, you get so used to seeing it that you don't say anything special about it. Now, the same thing with children. Because a child is young, because they can't take care of themselves so well, some children are they are not as strong as adults. You cannot send them to heavy duties. They are not bringing money to the house. So you look down on them. You think that because they are children, they don't have emotions. They are not intelligent. They are not wise. You can dismiss them anyhow you want. That's what some parents do. They just want to take the life of their child. First of all, those children were given to you to be you're a steward for these children. They are not your property. They are only going to be your children until a certain time. A time will come when you have to let your children go. Sometimes parents are so much in love with their children, they don't want to even allow their children to grow. They don't want to even hear what the child wants to be. A child that enjoys painting, that enjoys arts, music, or that love sciences. Say, no, no, you cannot do medicine. Doctoring is being a doctor is too hard. The school fee is expensive. You're still in the present is the call of God. What if it's the call of God on the child, for the child to go into that particular field? But because you already have your own objective thinking about what you think that child's life should be. You fail to see the treasures that's inside that child. Some parents spend so little time with their children that they don't even know the child's hobbies. They don't know what the child really wants, because all the life of the child, they've always done everything that their mommy asked me to do. You don't leave the children, give them the opportunity or the space to discover themselves, not knowing that their mommy will not always be there forever. The best thing any parent can do is to train up a child in the way of the Lord. And when that child is old, when that child is as advanced, they will not depart from it. So seeing treasure in these natural, small, seemingly helpless or weak children, seeing that great treasure in them, it takes a lot of discipline on us as adults. Children are not just senseless little beings. They are people, but they're just little. They are little people. They get angry. They are the same way we can get provoked. The same way everything an adult can do, a child can do. So I think if it's time for us to stop undermining children in our homes, in our churches, and everywhere we find them. So I think the best way to tap into this is by seeing that they are great people, not just looking at them through the eyes of this and a small baby, a small child. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, sir. I also want to ask you similar question, Asha. Now we see that this year's theme for Children's Day is tapping the untapped natural treasure that's in children. How do you think your parents, your teachers, everyone in the society, how do you think they can best tap that treasure in you?
Everyone in society plays a role in tapping into a child's untapped natural treasure. So they can help by our parents can help by also bringing us uprightly, taking us to church programs for us to also be brought up spiritually. And the school too can also help by teaching us good moral values so that we can grow up in society and have grown to our full potential.
Oh, that's beautiful. And David, I also want to ask you the same question. How do you think your mommy, your daddy, and your teachers can tap into that great treasure in you? You see, at this age, you are already doing so well, playing instruments. How do you think they can further help you to be the great person that God has intended for you?
Oh, they could teach us more about society. That's school's job, but they can also do it.
Okay.
Churches could teach us about the Lord and every other place.
That's beautiful. That's lovely. I'm very sure that you know that there are children that don't have the same opportunity you have, right? And are not as privileged as you are. Of course you do. You see them in your society. Do you? I'm asking you, Asha. Yeah. What of
How about you,
David?
David?
Sometimes
You don't really know. You're not very certain. Okay, but actually, there are children that are not privileged. They are orphans. You know of orphans, right? There are people that are orphans. They lost their parents, and then things turned horrible for them, turned bad for them. So I want to ask, what are the challenges you think as a child you face, or other children face? I'm asking you, David, what are the challenges children face that prevent them from becoming all they can be? Like, you think this is a challenge a child faces that will make the child that has interest in coding not to code, or interest in playing the keyboard not to play the keyboard, or that have an interest in becoming a medical doctor tomorrow, not becoming that? What do you think are the challenges? What causes this?
mental health problems,
Oh.
anxiety, and more.
Really?
Really?
Children have mental health problems?
Some of them.
What type of
What do
mental
you
health?
think causes the
What type
mental
of
health
mental health?
problem?
Like which mental health problem? Which problem particularly?
Like they think too much.
Oh, thinking too much, a mental health problem. Okay. And
I'm
what
very
again?
Overreacting.
okay.
Overreacting.
That's throwing tantrums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you think it's a problem thinking too much? But why do they think
Yes.
too much? Why do they think too much?
The same reason. Overreacting.
Makes them think too much, overreacting
Yes.
about a situation, right? What situation do you think makes a child overreact? What are the situations that comes the way of a child? Like, what are those things that can happen to you that can make you want to overreact?
Mostly when they don't do something you like or anger.
Okay. That's beautiful. I'll be asking you, Asha, what are the challenges you think children, both you younger children, children that are not as privileged as you are, orphans, what are the challenges they face that make them not to become completely who they are supposed to be? People have aspirations. Yeah.
Okay, so like he said, some of them are mental problems, like their mindset. But the way the economy is, to some people like orphans that don't have parents, or people that generally
I
stay
like
in
that
like
area.
that don't generally stay in like all these urban areas that live in rural areas have problems like poverty, lack of schools, they don't have education, lack of healthcare too. Some of them may be sick and not have efficient healthcare and they can even die and they will not be able to unlock their full potential.
Yeah.
So those are some of the problems some of us are facing.
Also, do you also think at times parents negligence, parent not paying attention to you as kids also contributes to children not tapping and the society not tapping the treasure in a child?
Yes, definitely. Parents' negligence can lead to a child's potential not being tapped into, because parents is their duty to look after their child and look into their children's upbringing, but their negligent acts towards a child or they are not having time for a child because of maybe work can also lead to a child's treasures not being too tapped into.
Oh, that's something. I would like to channel this question to our Sunday school teacher. You're a Sunday school teacher, you train children, you raise them, you have the privilege of at least meeting with the children every Sunday when the parents are done from Monday to Saturday. So what challenges do you think these children face that makes them not to become exactly who they are supposed to be? Because I know that it's just a lot. The street of Nigeria is just filled with children that have dreams. Even, of course, you can attest to the fact that when you were growing up, you had dreams, you had aspirations, things you wanted to become, but along the line, all of those things died down. So, let's hear from our guest.
All right. I think you've mentioned a number of points. I heard from Asha, heard from Davis, and they all gave wonderful answers. I would like to give a brief story of a young man named Moses in the Bible. And when he was born, that same time when he was, king issued a command to kill, during the time, to kill all the male children, to throw them into the Nile River. And then it also happened again in the life of our Lord Jesus Christ when he was born, and the three wise men found his star. When the king heard of it, he said, when you find him, come and tell me so that we go and worship him too. But the Bible told us that he was actually lying because he was not trying to go and worship God. He was actually going to kill him when he finds him. So every child from 2 years and under were killed. So there was like a huge massacre of children in that period. The first problem, challenge we are facing in tackling the resources and treasures in our children is that the devil sees these potentials and tries to snuff them out before they are matured. before they materialize. David mentioned mental problems, and in our schools, in our churches, we have some children that we call them special children. So some of them they're hyperactive, some of them are quite slow, some of them are disabled, they were born with disabilities, some of them struggle to understand, they don't understand writings, they don't speak languages easily. So these are part of the mental problem David was trying to talk about. Some children are born with a spectrum of autism. So some of them, even if you take them, no matter the school you take them to, if it's not a special school, it will not benefit them. So some children actually need special attention. There are children that were born like that. There are children who were born like that, but through prayer, through waiting on God, their story changed. They got well, they got healed. Yes, God still works miracles. But then there are children who were not privileged to be born into a Christian family. And the enemy was able to attack them as children and kill them. Some of them become agents of darkness. I know we used to hear of child courtism, initiating of children into courts, using sweets, using chewing gum. These things are not just African magic. They are not just stories that were told. They were actual things that happened. And the enemy will not see a child with great potential. Imagine the okay when they saw the star of Jesus from the east. The east should be like modern day Iraq, Iran region. And they traveled all the way from there to Israel on camelback. So if a child is so special that Jesus tells us that their angels are always before the face of the Father. If a child is so special to God, I think they should be that special to us. Then Ashika also spoke about poor education and poor health system. Where I live, where I stay, along the road here, there is this settlement of these house people that just the settlement. And you see, during the day, the children are playing from morning to evening. The only school, the only education they know is their Islamic education. And that's the only form of education they have. Now, tomorrow, this one's group, what do you want to tell him about white collar job? What he knows all his life has been this particular sector, this particular religion, this particular teaching is all he knows. And so you will not blame him for growing up to choose a certain kind of lifestyle, because that's all he has ever known. There is something in art that says you cannot imagine what you've never seen. If I say imagine a flying goat, you know what a goat looks like, you know what a bird looks like. You can just imagine a being of a goat, and then you have a flying goat. But if you have never seen a goat before, if you have never seen a bird before, you can't imagine it. So children need a frame of reference. Another very crucial challenge facing children is the issue of mentorship and modeling. Children learn when you're not trying to teach them. That's one thing about children. They learn when you're not trying to teach them. If I keep telling you, Junior, I don't want to see you smoking. If I catch you smoking in this house, I'll deal with you. But then when I finish shouting, I'll go and stay at the back of the house and be smoking. Junior is not seeing you. I just want to hide and be smoking. Tomorrow, I assure you that Junior will go and find cigarettes and start smoking. Regardless of how many times I've flogged him and how many times I've beat him and shouted at him. Children learn when you're not trying to teach them. You keep giving them instruction. Okay, they are listening to you, but that thing you're doing, whether in secret or in open, is what they are saying. Automatically, it has a way of falling in their line. So, as mentors, as parents, as teachers, we ought to be good models. We ought to be a good model. Children, we are having fewer and fewer models by the day. Fewer models in marriage, fewer models of fathers, fewer models of mothers, fewer models even as big siblings. Some of us, it's our elder siblings that helped us through our thick times in our lives. Even as uncles, as aunties, be a model to these children. And then another challenge facing the children is this modern day slavery of saying, okay, you need a house help, and you get the house help, say you want a child, and then you get the young child, but you don't, when the child comes into your house, you don't allow the child to be a child. You say you want a child to take care of your children, somebody that's not too young, not too old, someone you can see that is malleable, and you bring in a young someone else's child into your house, but then you maltreat the person, you flog the person, you burn the person with iron. A news I saw recently, they killed the woman killed another person's child staying with her. What you will not want someone to do to your own children, you find yourself doing it to another person's children. The Bible tells us that we should do to others what we want others to do unto us. So if you don't want your children to go astray, if you don't want your own children to be led into prostitution, why will you lead somebody else's child into prostitution? Why will you lead somebody else's child into a modern slavery? Put the person under very stressful environment. The person watching TV with your children, you feel challenged. You buy clothes for your children, you don't buy for the person because the person is not your child. So the challenges facing children, they are numerous. And I pray that God will help us to face the ones that we can handle that, deal with it ruthlessly. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Crispus. You made valid points. Honestly, at times when we see the way some people handle other person's children, it's painful. What's the difference between this child and the one you gave birth from your womb? I hope as parents, as grown-ups, will do better treating people's children out there. All right, I would like to ask you, Asha. Now you've gotten to this stage where you are so involved in so many beautiful things at this tender age. Do you think as a child they would have, if maybe your parents were not involved in noticing the talent in you on time, do you think you would have gotten to this stage?
Because I couldn't have done it on my own. It was my parents noticing and pushing me through classes that helped me to improve on talent. So on my own, without my parents' addition or help, I would not have gotten to where I am now.
How early did you start every single thing? Because I'm amazed.
I started some of them not too long ago, but like there are some I started from like childhood. Like violin, I started playing it from like when I was like 6 or so. But there are some I started like 2, 3 years ago. But it's the classes that my parents put me through that I was able to improve on them.
Okay. So now, before you started those classes, did you show any attributes? Okay, you love music that made your parents to say, okay, let's sign her up for music class.
For music, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think I did, but that was a long time ago, so I'm not sure. But I know for drawing, I started showing some interest before they enrolled me into a class.
Okay. And now, how do you think other parents too can help their children bring out the treasure in them?
They can help their children by like closely watching them and monitoring them to like see some of their potentials, and then also try and help and advance them in any way they can.
Okay, I learned you came with some of your designs. Can you show us?
This was like one of the first things I drew, like when I started painting on canvas.
Oh, wow.
This was like the first thing, and it was in a class that my parents registered me that I drew this. Then I drew this on my own. I think I was just feeling bored, and then I decided to draw this.
Oh, that's really beautiful.
That's lovely.
How your parent noticed something you just did out of boredom and they saw it as a talent in you. Also, David, I want to ask you, you are into you play so many instruments at this tender age. I think you made mention of you started at age 5. Did you tell your parents I'm interested in playing instrument before they signed you up?
No, not really.
So how did they know you would love and know how to play so many instruments
They just signed me up.
and you loved it?
Yeah, I started unknowing anything about it. Then the teachers taught me, and then I was beginning to get it and like it. But then I did register, so now I know how to play.
Oh, that's really beautiful. So, is there any other thing you would want to advance in? Any other musical instrument, or maybe another skill you want to get so that your mommy and daddy can hear?
Well, I would like to try testing the guitar.
Okay. And I know you're very great at it. I know.
Okay, yeah, that would be lovely. So with all of these things, do you think there are things challenging, distracting you from, or things that will distract you from exploring or achieving all of these things? Do you think what are the things that might pose as a form of distraction to you?
Nothing.
Nothing. You don't see cartoons, right?
Well, I do.
You
Oh,
do,
when
and they don't
it's
distract you.
and when mommy say
Not
it's time for
distracting.
training, you
it,
say
it
I don't
distracts you,
want.
right? Eh?
Yeah.
Obviously, any child that sees cartoon, of course, it's more like a distraction. But you don't think it's going to stop you from becoming all that you want to be.
Yeah, you can't.
It can't. Oh, I love that. So, do you have in your house? Is it regulated? Do you have a particular time you can see cartoons and another time you? Do you have a tab?
Yeah.
Oh, and you don't have access to it every time, or do you have times when you keep it aside? Or
Well, I have access to it every time. But when it's low, I plug it and do something
oh,
else.
when it's low, when it's charged, you
It's
use
all
it.
yours. But does it form as a distraction to you improving your skills in other areas?
A little.
Oh, now you're agreeing a little, right? Okay, that's interesting. Well, at least it's a little, and it's lovely that you started from your childhood now to learn all of these things. Yeah, Asha, do you have distractions, things that might distract you, or you think that distracting people from becoming all that they can be?
Yeah, there are things like TV, phones, tablets that can distract you, but it's just depending on your mentality and how you choose to handle those things that could likely become distractions and the time you give yourself to practice and to be on the screen.
Okay. So I want to ask you, some parents actually allow their kids to have tablets, phones, and just so that they won't disturb them. Do you think it's right? How do you think they can best help the children? It's a distraction like you talked about.
Okay, so all these people that give their children like phones so that they won't disturb them is actually a really bad mentality because their ages people are supposed to get phones and tablets. There are certain stages you're supposed to reach first. So you can also have the mentality to handle it. So giving like a young child a phone or a tablet just for them not to distract you is a bit it can also lead to them not being able to tap their full potential.
Okay.
And that's a way of parents even stifling their child's potential and not being able to unlock it.
Okay. So what
That's
age is best for a child to use those gadgets regularly without being monitored by the parents?
Without being monitored, let's say like from 13 as you're a teenager.
oh.
Or like they can get a tab for a smaller child.
Okay.
Do you have it? You have a tab, okay, and it's not
And
distracting you.
no, no, really.
No, really? That's beautiful. So, are there measures your parents take to ensure that it doesn't distract you?
Yes.
Okay, what are the measures?
Like
So other
sometimes when
parents
we've
can
been
learn
on
too.
it too long, you're like, okay, we should off it, the TV or laptop, everything, we should off it and go and do something else for a while. Like
Before
go
you
and
come.
read or something or go and practice.
Thank you. That's
That's
beautiful.
good.
So parents have a lot of role to play,
Yes.
not just the classroom teacher
Because we
or
find
the
out.
Sunday school teacher, because you realize that you are the one that spends most of the time with your child.
Yeah, and at
Yes.
times parents choose to push that responsibility of training the child to the teacher,
Which is not
which
it's
it
not
shouldn't
possible.
be
The,
so.
the teacher has a lot of persons in the class to teach,
Yeah,
and most times it's not basically. I know school teaches moral, but it's not like that.
you
They
should
don't.
also have
You
your
have
own
your.
part to play.
Nobody can play the part of a parent.
Honestly,
Nobody can play. You can play the part of a teacher as a parent, but you can no teacher can play the part
part
of a
of a
parent
parent. Yeah.
in a child's life. So I'd like to ask our online guests, what are the distractions as a children teacher? What are the distractions children face that can prevent them, they personally, that can prevent them from being all that they are supposed to be and not tapping into the resources within them?
Okay, I think Sasha and David have given quite a good answer. Sometimes the screens can be a major distraction, and then sometimes games. When I'm saying screens now, I don't just mean just tabs. I mean television, games. Of course, some children love their games. They can stay for hours. You can play a keyboard for 2 hours. You can play musical instrument 3 hours. But when they are playing game, they can be there for 6 hours. So I think computer games is another big distraction. Thank you.
Oh,
That's
that's it in computer game. I see how even a little child that they are carrying, once the child once the parent wants to numb that pain or the discomfort a child
yeah.
is having, they
Just
just
give
get a
them.
tablet or cartoon,
Don't
give them
distract
phone.
me.
And children now, they can operate phone very well, oh,
You don't need to
even more
teach
than an
them.
adult. You don't need to teach them as if they got it from the womb, from inside the womb. But then that's beautiful. We thought say Asha and David,
David.
they have amazing skills. Of course, we've heard them talk about it, and they can play the keyboard. That's amazing. That's
I want to
encouraging.
hear.
I love that. And I'm very sure our viewers, you want to hear them play the keyboard. So we start with David. Just play something amazing, a song for us, for the viewers to listen to and be happy. Children's Day celebration.
I can hold this for you.
No, he needs it. That's stuff. Wow, that's amazing. That's
Beautiful.
beautiful. When did you start learning the keyboard again?
By 5 too.
By
By 5.
when you were 5? Oh, that's good. That's good.
It takes a lot
Nice
of
to say. Once a
concentration at
child is
that
4 years,
age.
once a child is 4 years, and you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You are going to keyboard school straight up. That's beautiful. I'm impressed. And of course, with this knowledge, you're already reading stuff, right? That's stuff.
Yeah.
He was reading stuff, viewers. That's something that's very good. Before you get up to the age of maybe when
Even
you're already in
15.
second, you're already a pro. That's beautiful. So Asha, would like to hear you play the keyboard. Let's hear you play a song for us. Let's okay, I need some adjustments. That's amazing.
And
You play with your two
that's
hands, ba?
amazing.
Can you play with
I
your two hands? We
recognize the
want to
song
see it.
she's playing. Do you
Yes, yes,
recognize
yes.
it?
I don't really know any
Oh,
song off head
together.
that I can play with my two
With your
hands.
two
I need
hands.
to look at the stuff.
The
So
staff. Oh, you
Okay.
use staff. That's beautiful. You have real musicians here.
Very
That's
skilled.
amazing. She was playing all together, lovely.
Yeah. Here
All
I am to
together. Yes,
worship.
exactly. That's beautiful. And before in the next 2 years now, she's a pro. Maybe the
Honestly.
world best keyboardist. Keep it up. Keep it up. So, David, would like to hear from you. What advice do you have to other children? What advice you have to give them that will help
Well,
them become better?
well, I can say they should try to improve on their own, like take their parents' advice, even if their parents aren't doing what they need to do to teach them. At least they're telling them what to do and correcting them.
That's
How about
beautiful.
you, Asha? What do you have to say to children like you?
if people that, like he said now, parents that are not involved, children should at least try and make an effort by themselves. I know if your parents aren't doing all they are supposed to be doing for their developments, they should have like mentors. Like now you go to church, there are people that you can like that you look up to that can guide you in this set of things. So you can go and meet them. If your parents aren't doing that much, you can go and meet them to also guide you, and you can also follow in their footsteps.
That part of
Oh,
mentorship,
yeah.
that's beautiful and it's very important. Everybody, both a child needs a good mentor.
Everyone.
And if your parents are not that mentor, if you are not learning anything from them, you can
Reach out to
reach out
some
to
other
someone
person.
else. It could be your teacher, it could be your Sunday school teacher, it could be a friend's parent, but whichever one. Make sure you have a mentor, someone that is guiding you, someone you're looking up to. So would like to
I want
ask.
to also wish them happy Children's Day and everyone out there, all the children, you matter. And we are so happy to celebrate with you on this day because we know you are the future. And we are invested in bringing out the treasure in you. So, happy Children's Day, Asha and David. Happy Children's Day to all our viewers out there.
That's beautiful. So this is like your final word.
I just thought to wish them happy Children's Day
Okay,
before we
that's
forget.
amazing. So we'd like to hear from our online guests. What advice you have for parents, teachers, and children out there that will be listening?
Okay. There's something Jesus said in the Bible. He said, let the little children come to me. And that's the same thing I have for children. Come to Jesus. Yes. You're not too young to give your life to Christ. You're not too young for God to use. As young as you are a powerful battle axe in the hands of God. It tells us in the book of Psalms that happy is the one whose quiver is full of them. That means you are arrows. So my advice to children all over the world is what Jesus said.
Okay, thank you very much.
Come back to me. So everything he will reveal it to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time, for making our time to be with us today, Children's Day. It's really a very interesting one that we don't take for granted. Thank you very much. And thank you, Asha. Thank you, David, for bringing out your time to be with us and to teach other children. We are grateful. Thank you. My co-anchor, do you have just in 30 seconds?
Okay, I have some words for parents. We see Asha and David here today. The points they've gotten to it as a result of their parents, the parents' intentionality in observing their children and directing them on the right path. So please, parents, let's be intentional. The ones that God has handed into our hands, they are not, like Mr. Crispo said, they are not our properties. We are just guardians over them. So be more intentional about putting them through the right path. You know, the world is changing. So observe the positive things and see how you can direct your child in that way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gifts. Thank you. No, it's always an honor having you with me here.
Same
I
here.
enjoy
I
having you
enjoy
with me.
doing
Thank
this
you.
with you.
So, as we close today's conversation on now streaming, let's not forget Nigerians' children are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are the treasures of today. Children's Day is more than the parades and poems. It's a wake-up call to invest, to nurture, to protect and empower. If we fail to tap into the rich reserve of potential, we risk burying a national treasure before it ever shines. We cannot keep celebrating the day and ignoring destiny over our children, and their potentials. Their power in waiting. Thinkers, dreamers, builders, leaders, and like every treasure, they must be discovered, refined, and protected. Let today be more than a ceremony. Let it be a commitment to nurture, to invest, to believe in them. So whether you're a parent, you're a teacher, you're a policymaker, or a church leader, the call is clear. It's time to recognize our children, not just as dependents, but as divine deposits for a greater Nigeria. A challenge to every adult, every leader, every church, and every system in Nigeria. What are we doing with our treasure? Our children are not just a part of the future, they are already shaping the future through their questions, their energy, their dreams, and yes, their plan. For every child who sings, there is another who cries. For every star in the spotlight, there are thousands still in the shadows, waiting for someone to notice their light. And so we must ask ourselves hard questions. Are we building schools or just buildings? Are we educating or just instructing? Are we raising godly leaders or just managing their survival? The truth is, we cannot afford to let another generation grow up unseen, unheard, and underdeveloped. Because when we ignore the child, we delay the nation. But here's the good news. It's not too late. Every act of mentorship, every policy that protects, every church that invests, every teacher who cares is a step towards unlocking the treasure buried inside Nigerian young hearts. So, today, let Children's Day become more than a memory. Let it ignite a movement. Let it remind us that hidden in every classroom, playground, and choir stand, and even our neighborhood, are future presidents, prophets, investors, missionaries, and trailblazers waiting to be discovered. The most valuable resource in Nigeria isn't buried in the ground. It's walking around in school uniform, dreaming big and waiting to shine. The future is not in the oil well, not in the exports, not even in the elections. The future is in our children. So as Psalm 127 verse 3 reminds us, children are a heritage from the Lord. They are not liabilities. They are divine investments. But as Chief Obafemi Awolowo once warned, the children of the poor you fail to train today will never let your children have peace tomorrow. That's a call to action for us all. Thank you for streaming with us here on ACNNTV. I'm Chidima Ndukuba. And until next time, stay hopeful, stay watchful, and keep nurturing the treasure Nigeria cannot afford to lose. Thank you very much, and bye.